back to another episode of the Soup Bowl. I am your host, Renee Murdoch, and I am so happy that you are listening and joining us on today, that you are liking, that you're sharing, that you're subscribing, that you are doing life with me, with us, with everyone. Right? Because we were never meant to do life alone. So I'm so glad to be going on this journey with you as well. And like I've always said, and I'm still going to be saying, hey, if you got things that you want to talk about, you want to chat it up, you want to, just get some insight with, you want to muse over some things with someone else, please drop me a message. You can reach me at www.4mosaic.com or the email info at 4, that's the number 4, mosaic.com. Right, and we can just, chop it up, whatever, put something down in the comments. I would love to hear from you. But as we get in the soup bowl, we know that things get messy. Life gets messy. And life is also humbling if you do it right. Because while we out here in these streets living life, we learn daily. Right, and there's some things that we might think that we know, and then we come into new discoveries. And other than allowing our ego, that's a good topic, allowing our ego to get the best of us, we humbly submit to those new things of learning and get a new perspective and a new outlook. So if you don't want to, chop it up with people that have different views on you, then you're not really opening to learning new things. So it's good to get insight or other people's perspective on certain topics and subjects, right? Like raising children, whether they should be spanked, not spanked, whooped, how they should be disciplined, things of that nature, how we should wash our dishes. I got this thing, right? So this is definitely not the topic, but we're going here. We're going here today. This thing about, so I don't use the dishwasher, right? Have I used the dishwasher before? Yes, I have on different occasions, but it is not a daily, a weekly thing. Right. And so I don't do it. I believe in still, putting the gloves on or whatever and washing dishes. But like if it's like I've hosted something or whatever, I will use the dishwasher. Or I feel like we haven't ran it, so we need to run it. And so we'll run it. Right. So anyway, so I have this thing that when you get done eating, you should rinse out your articles. Right. And then you put them in the sink. You don't just put them in the sink, or you just don't run water and then you put them in the sink, right? They're not rinsed out. They're not. And so then things, they get stuck there and they're hard to clean and you have to scrub and all these things, right? So I thought it was the same thing like if you were to put something in the dishwasher, right? Like you have to really rinse off really good and then you put it in there, right? And then you run the dishwasher. So, but my person, and I've been saying this since, it's been a while. It's been a while. It's been over a century, and so that's a long time. That's a long time, right? And so I've asked, I explained to them the importance of why it is necessary to actually do this, and so I have. Because they don't see the importance as I do. I have just, went into another game plan, right? To another game plan. And so that is if it is not, not done, properly. And then I would just leave it. I would just leave it, until they decided they want to do it. And as well as bringing the dirty articles from work. I don't understand this. I don't understand how you can eat out of something, right? And then you package it up dirty and then you put it back in the lunchbox and then you bring it home as though you work on a construction site. And even if you did work on a construction site, I don't know, I will have like some wipes or whatever where I could kind of wipe it out or whatever, boom, 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 whatever. But to allow it to sit there, and then to bring it into the house, and then there's kind of like the smell, because again, you don't rinse the things out properly, and so there's this smell. And then I just don't, I'm trying to get the understanding. I want to understand. The only thing that I have really landed on is that this individual just wants to do what they want to do. They don't see the importance of it at all. They, and so of course, do you? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And then I don't have, yes, you do. Yes, you do. You have a pantry. You have some type of thing that you can clean these dishes out before you bring them home. You can go to the Dollar Tree. I have numerous, at one point, with buying little small things, right? A palm olive Dawn that you can take with you. You could either leave it in the pantry, you could put it in your drawer, your desk at work, and take it with you. You just refuse. You just refuse. At this point, I believe they do it on purpose to bother me, to keep me saying things. And so now I don't. I just leave it right there. But very interesting. That's just an example, right, of trying to gain some understanding of someone else's perspective. Sadly enough, I don't understand it yet. We will continue down this path as we continue on in life together. Maybe they will gain an understanding of what I'm saying. Maybe, I don't know. But this is where we are. But the point is that we're still in relationship. We didn't break up. We didn't go our separate ways. We didn't stop communicating. We just don't agree there. We just don't agree. And so there we are. Okay? All right, so there was something I came across on LinkedIn. And so I wish this could have been like part 2 when I was talking about invitations, but here we are right now. And so I read it and I was like, oh yeah, that's just kind of sums up a lot of things, right? We can go down a whole roller path of what this is, right? And so I think it'll save us as people a lot of heartache, a lot of disappointment, a lot of, you know what, it's okay. It's okay. So, and I'm going to post this on my Instagram, and so just in case you don't capture all that, I'm going to post it there. And again, I don't know who the author is, but I'm just going to put unknown author. Okay. So anyway, so it's basically, how, some sayings or whatever, or some things that, and then how you should respond to them, right? So I think this goes into getting clearly about where you are with people in your relationships. And I think we've talked about that. We are going to continue talking about different types of relationship and how do you grow and learn, right? I'm going through it. We're all going through it as we're continuing to live out here in these streets. So the first one was not told, don't ask. What they ain't tell you. There's a reason why they ain't tell you. So you ain't got to ask about it. Right? You ain't got to ask about it. If they wanted to tell you, they would have told you. Now, it's a little bit different when we're talking about marriage, but we're not talking about marriage, okay? So, but anyway, if they didn't tell you, then they just didn't tell you, and you don't need to be asking about it. It's just that simple, okay? Late invites, decline. You don't have to be sitting there feeling some type of way because you just got the call or the text message and it was like, oh snap, are you able to come? We having a cookout, we having a barbecue, we're meeting at the park, we're going to brunch, we're going to the movies or whatever. Can you make it? This is what time it is. It's the same day. You get the message the same day. Or you might get the message the day prior. And, and it's like, okay, why they send it to me now? I know they just didn't come up with this. I know this didn't happen. Now, depending on how the person is, because you do got spontaneous people out there, and you know how this person functions, operates, so you know, right? So, but at the end of the day, it's like, don't get all worked up about it. Don't get worked up like, I could have this and that, whatever I would, if I had more time. Decline. Right? Because you don't want to get in the space, and you like, you feeling some type of way because you ain't got on certain color, scheme, whatever. You didn't have enough time, whatever. You didn't know you were supposed to bring something. You didn't have enough time to make nothing, so you ended up going to buy something. And there's all these things come into play. Decline. Thank you so much for your invitation. I will be unable to attend. Unable to make it. Please let me know next time in advance. There you go. Then you ain't got to work yourself up about it. Right? You don't have to, because I know I get worked up about, like, what? We have to do what? You want to do what? When? Where? How? And I got all these questions, and then, of course, they're not all getting answered. Save yourself, Renee. Save yourself from all of this. And then just decline. Is it so important that, you must be there? Really? Did you have something else you was going to do that day? Do that. Whatever that was, do exactly that. Don't switch it up. Nicely decline. Okay. Number 3. Not invited? Don't go. You were not invited. So why are you there? Why are you feeling some type of way? You weren't invited. You weren't. Even if you show up on the scene and you didn't know they was going to be there, do not invite yourself to sit at that table, to be in that vicinity. You were not invited. And there is a reason why you weren't invited. And let that be just right there. Okay, I wasn't invited. I don't need to be here. I don't need to sit with them. It's okay. Do you have to be invited to everything? Is it mandatory? Is there a law? Is there a reason that you need to be at everything? Okay, no, it doesn't. No, it don't. Now, I know you're saying, well, what about we're supposed to be, friends and this and that, whatever. And there's a difference, like when you're lied to and not invited. That's something else, right? That's just a whole nother ball game. Being lied to, right? Like, other than someone just saying, like, yeah, such invited me out, whatever. I'm gonna go, hang with them. We're gonna do whatever. Cool. But like, if I'm like, hey, let's go, and you're just like, oh no, I'm gonna stay in tonight, and then I see the photos, I run into you, but you were staying in, you were not going anywhere, like, for real. That gives you more information. All of these things are giving you information about your relationship, your surroundings. It's not to, bash anybody or anything of that nature, but as you grow, things change. There could be one person from, your childhood that you continued on, or it maybe not, or your college days or whatever. Like, there could just be one person, it might not be. It could be one person that came on later in your life, right? It could, like, every season that you're going through, new people will come, right, and old people will go. And I don't think it always has to end in, this big dramatic, drawn out thing or whatever. It just is what it is. We're all growing. And as we're growing, some of us are growing together in certain seasons and some of us are not. And sometimes you circle back around. right? And it's okay. So sometimes it's just good to just leave things where they are and don't try to. I think I'm getting ahead of myself to force things, right? So the next one is it's just all the same thing, right? Left out of plans, move on. Don't try to insert yourself into the equation. Just continue to move on. Because the more you try to insert yourself into the equation, the more confusion you cause in that particular scenario. So just keep it moving. Why are you trying to put yourself into the equation? You weren't supposed to be in there. You're messing up the dynamics of breaking down the expenses because now you're trying to insert yourself into a dynamics that you originally were not supposed to be in the plan. It's just that simple. Always initiating, step back. Step back and see what they're going to do. You know, step back and see what they're going to do. If they just, don't, call anymore, don't come around anymore, whatever, then you know, right? So if you're always doing certain things, right, and I'm using that word loosely, so I'm going to say majority, right, but it could be always, and you decide to step back, or you decide, I don't want to be in this role anymore in this relationship. I don't want that to be my role, right? It's kind of like at work, right? This is, maybe we've all experienced this, right? If you're the person that is always reaching out, so you word always, you're the person that's reaching out and saying, hey, let's, do something for lunch. Let's people bring in something, it must be bought, but let's bring in something. Everybody pitch in to bring in something. Let's go, the happy hour. If you're the person that's always doing this, or the person that's, always in the group chat and, initiating things, then the expectation is that you're the person that's going to do that. You're the person that's going to plan. You're the person that's going to plan the going away things when people go away, and when someone has a baby, and someone's all these celebration is now on you, because the expectation is that you're going to do it because you're always planning everything, and now that has become your role. It's just it's just a dynamic. So we actually determine for ourselves what our roles are going to be in relationships, in the community in which we live. And so when you make a decision that you don't want that to be your role anymore, then guess what? It has to become somebody else's role. And if you're in that community and no one steps up to be that role, then guess what? It could be that that's no longer your community. For those of you that are listening, I'm just kind of leaning my head to the side and my lips is kind of pursed together And so you have to ask yourself, am I ready or willing, right, to give this relationship up, or whatever it may be, if you don't want that to be your role anymore, right? And so I actually have been in that situation numerous of times of, because even with my siblings, I've expressed this before, where I was the one that was always reaching out and calling or whatever. And initially, it kind of made sense because when I was younger, right, I was in the service and I was traveling a lot. So, of course, the calling or the money or them not knowing, where I'm at or whatever, so that kind of made sense. But when I came stateside, and I, been permanently been in the stateside, right? So that expectation was still always there because that had become my role. It had become my role. And so then I was like, what? I don't want this to be my role anymore. I don't talk to these people unless I reach out to them, right? And so I realized that I was the one that was reaching out, and there was really no interaction unless I did that. And then I was like, I don't want that to be my role no more. So then I started calling. And I have done that a lot. And so then I just end up just not talking to people anymore. It's not that, we ain't got no love for one another or whatever. I just decided that wasn't going to be my role anymore. And so when you decide that's not going to be your role anymore, then it brings about a different dynamic. Either the relationship evolves into something else, or the relationship just fizzles away because there's no one willing to do the reaching anymore or whatever. I feel like, okay, well, if you're not reaching, then why should I continue to be reaching? Okay. All right. So the next one is feeling used, set boundaries. I don't know about that one. Like, if you're feeling used in your relationship, it is good to set boundaries, right? And so then those individuals will know, right, what you're no longer available, or this is your cutoff, or these are your boundaries in this particular area or subject or whatever. But I also feel like on the other end of that is if I'm feeling used, then yeah, I'm going to have my boundaries, but I'm also going to have a conversation, and based on that conversation would be whether this continues or not, right? So not so much of like I'm just going to set boundaries or whatever, because I guess if you're setting those boundaries or whatever, I think it will play itself out as well, right? So those individuals are like, oh man, I can't call them no more at the last minute. They're not available anymore at this time of day, or and then so the conversation gets a little different. The invitations get a little different. And so when you put those boundaries there, that's what it is. You have to do it. Just think about it. You have to do it at work, right? You're doing this at work, and things start to shift a little bit. But when you don't have any boundaries, like if you're sending out emails and it's on the weekend and it's after work and it's midnight, 10 o'clock at night, 2 in the morning, whatever, it's not even within the working time frame, but you're sending out emails. Guess what? Then people are going to expect for you to be doing this all the time. So when a situation, event, or something happens, the expectation is, well, this person works like this. And so since this person works like this person is going to show up. This person's going to be available. If every time they need someone to volunteer for something, whatever, and you're always raising your hand, and or they call you at the last minute and they ask for something and you're able to deliver it or to give it or to bring it, you have set no boundaries. But if you set boundaries, which rolls back up into, you told me at the last minute, whatever the case may be, then you're not doing it, right? So, for example, I got an invitation, was very, grateful for the invitation. The person was like, oh, okay, well, because I like to support this person, and what they do. And so they did put the caveat, sorry to tell you at the last minute, right? And so I was just like, okay, well, where is it at? And I had to think, right? Going back to one of my other things. Do I want to make that drive? What time is it? Right then and there, I already knew, nope, I'm not doing it. And then it went back into, you just told me today. So I graciously said, that's not going to work. Too late, last minute. Please let me know next time, when you have something, whatever. Or send me the dates, whatever, the link, so I can see for myself, when the next time the event is or whatever. So I want to support, right? But I have to be honest, again, about my boundaries. And that's my boundaries. If I didn't set my boundaries, right, and then I think I will be setting a presence that this is okay, and that I'm just sitting around twiddling my thumbs waiting for someone to text me and make my moves. No, I'm going to continue my day and what I was already going to be doing. And so I graciously declined. No hard feelings on anyone's part, right? So making sure you set the boundaries. I have boundaries as well as for noontime, right? So that's most people, they're taking their lunch or whatever. I yes and no, I could be, but I have a do not disturb on there, right? And there's two people that can actually, get through the do not disturb, because you can set that on there as well. And I know that if they're calling, whatever, it's emergency, they need to check up or whatever. But other than that, that's my time. I need time to think. I need time to, process information. So usually I am not taking calls or anything of that nature. Now, if I want to take a call, that is my choice. In taking this call, taking this conversation, if I'm brainstorming about something and it has something to do with someone, then I will take that call. But normally I'm walking during this time frame and I'm thinking. Taking walks is just so refreshing. It's so rejuvenating, just to kind of just let your mind rest and work all at the same time. Right? It's just kind of like letting that go. Okay, now I'm processing other things. I'm able to not be weighted down, but I'm able to think things through more, to come back a little bit more refreshed for the rest of the day. Without that, I can tell when I don't do it, it's really, my day, the other part of my day is not as progressive as the first part of the day. And so I duly strive to make sure that that boundary is in place. And also the boundary of at night, text messages, calls. I have a do not disturb at a certain time because of that reason. Boundaries. All right. Taken for granted. Value yourself. So you feel no one can take advantage of you unless you allow them to take advantage of you. You are teaching people every single day how to treat you. If someone is talking to you out the side of their neck, if someone is beating on you emotionally, verbally, physically, is because you're allowing it. Because when they did the first time, you stayed. You stayed, and you stayed in close proximity, and you allow them to do it again. So you can only be taken for granted if you allow people to take you for granted. If you are not expressing through words and action that you're not going to talk to me that way, you're not going to treat me that way, then guess what? They will continue to do it. Let's go a little further. We're not going to get through all these, but we can go ahead and go to part 2. But we're going a little further into, even in your work environment, right? Like I have heard people say, oh, my boss, yelled at me, cussed me out, this and that, whatever, right? And so my thing is like, yeah, no. We're going to have a conversation. You can be upset, because we all can be upset. But what you're not going to do is you are not going to yell and scream and try to belittle anyone to make yourself seem bigger. You are not going to call me out of my name. Now, we can have a conversation about whatever. If you feel like I screwed up, whatever, like you need to have this conversation, because if you don't, then they're going to think it's okay for you to do that. They're going to think it's okay for you to do that. And you got to be wise in the situation. Is it time to say that, or is it time just to be silent and walk away? I remember one time I did that when I was in the service. And of course it was like, oh, I'm going to write you up, of course, because the person outranked me. And I just walked away. And so I used to do stuff like this. And of course, I felt like I was fighting, right, certain things because of dynamics of how things were, right, the culture, what things were. And I was like, yeah, no, you're not going to talk to me like that. And so I just walked away. And then they're still yelling, but I have left. And of course, because you have been trained to sit in this type of environment, my legs were heavy to do this about face. But I knew it was necessary. I knew it was necessary. And yes, of course, that person tried to write me up and it didn't go nowhere. Why? Because of your actions and not mine. I don't have to stand there and for you to say what you're saying to me and be okay and to take it. No, you're out of line. You're out of line. So we have really, I think because I spent time talking about what this person was doing about this relationship in the beginning, we kind of lost sight. But I still don't think we would have got through all of them. So we got through those. That's today. So again, we're going to talk some more about the other ones that were posted. But I thought this was really good to kind of talk about again when we're talking about relationships and our expectations in them and the part that we play. So the first ones that we kind of talked about was not told, don't ask. Late invites, decline. Not invited, don't go. Left out of plans, move on. Always initiating, step back. Feeling used, set boundaries. Taken for granted, value yourself. All right, so that's all we have for today. Like I said, you want to chat it up. You want to put some topics on here that you want to talk about, or just kind of, things that you've been thinking about, whatever. And you want to know, like, hey, Renee, what are you thinking about that? Hey, we can talk about it here in the Soup Bowl. Because leading our own lives first is necessary, and it does get messy before we want to go out there and try to lead other people. It is not do as I say, not as I do. Right? That's not the type of leading that we're talking about, right? So we want to make sure that we're transparent and we're being authentic and we are, being honest about where we are, where we're at, right? Because this is where we are right now. We could be somewhere else in a year, a week, whatever from now. But that's just about life. All right. So as we know, leading is teachable here at the Soup Bowl. And so next time, I love you. There is nothing that you can do about it.